It's a Car Con Carne Extra. I'm recording without my car at Riot Fest. And on day one of Riot Fest, I sat down with Greg from Dillinger Escape Plan, just as that band's getting ready to ride off into the sunset. From backstage at Riot Fest, here we go.
It's Car Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Car Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
Dissociation. Is this really the end? This is it?
Yeah, for this foreseeable future, I think that we're going to stop afterwards. It's so weird to even say that. I've been, obviously doing a lot of press about that. It's frustrating because, you have a new record coming out, so you want to be amped about your record. But obviously the impending gloom and doom of our demise is what everyone wants to talk about. But it's not so much that we're the thing that's tough for people to understand is that there's no big story. There's no big tumultuous we're done with each other, we hate each other, which would be so much nicer and neater and cleaner when you have an acrimonious split. Someone throws their guitar down and walks off stage.
Yeah, throws punches, throws everything
style,
in.
or Black Flag or Van Halen. When things are just sudden and brutal, I think there's more of something to talk about. But I think we just kind of reached a point where we're I think that we're about to encapsulate everything that we do and with this record, and maybe it's a good time to have a line break of some sort and let some time go by, and if we decide to ever get back in a room and write songs together, we will, and if not, I think we're all pretty happy about it.
When did the decision to call it a day? Was it before recording? Was it during recording?
We were about 2/3 of the way done writing the music. I hadn't written any of the lyrics yet. And it was kind of in the air, we could just feel that we had grown, not apart, but we had grown a lot since the last time as individuals, as a collective, and it felt like we were taking a little bit longer to write. Everything just felt like maybe we were slowing down a bit, and Ben is the first person to give it a name. He called me, and we started talking about the record and the next couple years and what we're going to do, and he was like, yeah, and maybe this will be the last one for a while. And I was like, yeah, you never know. And then he's like, well, why don't we just say, why don't we just call it? Why don't we just call it and go do other things? And then I was immediately oh, shit, that's a terrifying idea because you don't have a safety net anymore. But it actually, the more we talked about it and got out of the fear aspect of it, the more it felt right. And I think that we've always operated based on what feels correct in our band. And it just felt right. It felt more exciting than just being in the grind. Sometimes you don't remember whether you're doing things because you want to anymore or because that's just what you do when you wake up every day. Oh, I'll make another record, then I'm going to go on tour. Then I'm going to make another record, then I'm going to go on tour. And luckily, we're still at the point where we really do want to do this. And oddly enough, we're getting along better than ever. And the decision to call it a day has kind of illuminated everything in a way. It's given a sort of weird value to all our time together, and it's starting to make us look upon what we've accomplished maybe a little bit more fondly than just trying to constantly grind. We're starting to look back now and be like, man, we actually maybe did something kind of cool together,
Well, and you're following the rock and roll motto of burning out before fading away. I mean, you leave them wanting more.
Right. Yeah. That's better to burn out than fade away. No, it's true. To me, we're all so creative, and I don't think that, that none of us are going to stop playing. It's just, I think that at a certain time, you have to have faith in yourself as an artist that maybe this will force you to do something more, something uncomfortable or more exciting. Not more exciting, that's not the word. To take yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit. And Dillinger.
So lullabies. I could see you doing lullabies.
Children's books, yes. Yeah. and lullabies.
Take that voice in a different direction.
Well, for me, it's about what happens when you don't know the format. If you're making a movie, what kind of movie are you going to make when you know it's not going to be the sequel to the sequel to the sequel that you already made? It's, to me, I said it in an interview the other day, I don't want to see Pirates of the Caribbean 19. I want to see one and then maybe a few. I don't want to see any, but you know what I mean.
Just to be clear, you don't
know
want to
what
see
I mean?
any of
I've
those,
actually
right?
never seen any of them. But yeah, I'm more excited, honestly, to see what everybody does. I'm such a fan of everyone that I'm in the band with, and I'm excited to see what those guys do when we're not all together. You know?
Well, and Dillinger's always been a band. I mean, there are no real rules to what
Right.
you're doing. I mean, you've been genre busting
Right.
from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing too is that like we're in a different time where like I don't think we're ever going to exist outside of this world to a great degree. Like anything we ever do individually is still going to kind of be always umbrellaed under Dillinger Escape Plan as far as like a fan base goes and things like that. So I think when people, no matter how far you go, you're always going to be in the realm of the thing that you came up in. Henry Rollins is never going to be able to escape Black Flag. Like
Right.
Mike Patton could never, no matter how many things he did, stop hearing about Faith No More. His audience is still primarily the audience that he acquired during that time. So I don't think we're going to be like the first people to come out of this and somehow like not have anything to do with the band. Like I think we'll always still be a family, and we feel so strongly about our fan base, and we have such a connection with them that I think we'll always exist in this realm. It's not like anyone's like, I'm fucking out of here, I don't want anything to do with Dillinger Escape Plan.
So what does this mean for you as you're performing, as you're supporting this album, as you're doing things like Riot Fest? Is there added emotion as you're playing these songs?
There was added emotion definitely writing them, because once we knew that we were wrapping up, then it becomes like this urgency to make sure that you get everything that you want to get out into this record. Like we want to encapsulate everything we do as a band, anything I can do as a singer, anything I want to say as a lyricist or put onto paper emotionally, or I want to make sure that this is the record that, like you said, you want to go out with a bang, so we really wanted to make sure if this truly is the end, and if 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now we really do not write another song together, like I really want to make sure that I got everything in the kitchen sink into the record that I wanted to. And I think that it made the record better knowing that we were and more emotionally heavy, and certainly some of the sentiment of knowing that we were going to break up, the emotional weight of that crept into the record a little bit thematically. Really strange coincidences, like the title I already had the title long before the conversation, and people think Dissociation is a comment on the band breaking up, but I had that title before, so it's very strange that sentiment was in the air before we even gave it a name.
Accidental foreshadowing.
Yeah, it's really really nice creatively when those kind of synchronicities happen, because then you're like, okay, cool, I didn't mean this, but now that it's there, I can play with it a little bit. But yeah, once the time that we're spending on tour and the time that we're playing the songs, it's everything's got more weight now. Just our interactions with one another are more precious, because we don't even live near one another. We live in different states, so it's tough to know how much we're even going to see each other after this is over, because we would not have any reason to occupationally. We would have to go out of our way just to hang out. So it's all becoming really interesting and poignant in a weird way.
I don't think we can talk about your band without talking about the live show.
Right.
High energy, intense. How nuts does one of your shows have to be for you to say, wow, that shit was kind of crazy?
It has to get to the point where I feel like there may be police intervention. Like Those are the shows, because most of the time you exist in sort of a ADD void when you're on stage, because there's so much stimulus and so many things happening. And actually, funny, I just picked up that Metallica book that came up the other day, and there's like a part in there where Hetfield is talking about shows being like this bizarre like smear of things, like, oh, there's a kid falling over the railing, and oh, there's someone flipping me off over there, and shit, Kirk just went out of tune, and now the show's over. But there's actually a lot of things that happen, but it's just this weird kind of smear. And I think the best shows are the ones you remember the least, because those are the ones you're the most present in. So a lot of the shows that people said were really crazy, I don't have a memory of, unless there's a good YouTube video of it for me to go back and look at.
That makes perfect sense to hear you say it like that.
Because you're in a little bit of a zone, and then later on someone's like, did you remember that thing? And I'm like, I don't, I just remember the video of it that someone sent me. But the shows where you're really taken out of the element and you're like, oh shit, this is a little bit crazy, are the ones where you start to fear that there may be police showing up, or it's turning into a small riot, or they shut you down, or the PA goes off because they're like, hey, this is getting a little bit too much. But it doesn't happen that often, where people are pretty good at governing themselves. Our fans are not the type of people to hurt one another. And so usually when things, at this point, we've played places so many times that the clubs are not as like horrified as they were 10 years ago. And it might have been our first time playing there, and they're like, what is going on, you know? But now they're like, okay, cool, we know they're going to... Sorry, the seasonal allergies are killing me right now. That they're going to have this under control, you know?
So legacy is such a goofy word, and usually you use it in context of bands like the Beatles or whatever. But it's time to look at the legacy of your band.
Right.
What is it? Is it the music, the chances you took musically? Is it what you did on stage? Is it the community you mentioned earlier with the
there's
fans?
A few things that I'm really proud of. The main thing is that I feel like we sound like ourselves, which is really hard to achieve. And I'm not really sure how we accomplished that. I think it's because we just, like you said earlier, we didn't really follow many genre rules, and so now we're at a point where there's a lot of bands out where you could say that band sounds like the Dillinger Escape Plan, or this band has a part that sounds like the Dillinger Escape Plan, or I'll talk to a band and a younger band and they'll be like, oh, this is our Dillinger-y part. And that's really cool, because to me, growing up, my favorite bands were bands that sounded like nobody, where they were instantly identifiable, like Primus, you know what I mean, or something where you could be like, that band sounds like Primus, or Faith No More sounds like Faith No More. So to be in a band where someone could say you have there's something that you sound like is really special to me. The fan base connection that we have is really special to me. I don't know what causes it, to be honest with you, because again, we just do what feels natural to us. But we're very hands-on with everything we do, and I think maybe people eventually start to be able to tell that there's a fingerprint on everything, whether it's your music to your artwork to the fact that there's no manager making our social media posts or running our Instagram or anything like that. Those things, I think, all start to leave like a fingerprint for people. And I don't know, like that we've got, you know, people that come to see us like 50 times, and people say, I've seen you guys 50 times, and I'm like, that's insanity. Like, why? You know what I mean? I can't imagine seeing anybody 50 times. You know, my favorite bands I've only seen like 3, 4, or 5 times at the most, and that to me is incredible, and I value it more than anything.